Hi, this is Mike Pritchard. I'm here with my friends Ra and Trevor, and our new friend who is a genius and a loving and sweet, amazing spirit, Darlene O'Brien. And I'm Mike Pritchard, and we're here with Morning.
Donuts for breakfast.
We are hoping to do a show called Heart Vision at some point with us helping her to talk to the whole of California and then all of America and eventually the world. And we're honored to be part of, as always, the community unity and, as my good young friend Trevor said, people helping people. Work?
That's very
Yeah,
nice. Very nice.
yeah.
Should we hit record yet?
That's good.
That's a warm up. That was a warm up. Can you do that again? Because that was
One
really
more time,
good.
Mike. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Darlene, for joining us. I'm really excited to have a conversation about heart vision and understanding diversity and disabilities. And I don't know, that's kind of where I'm excited. I'm just open-ended this week.
But Ra, you had a great conversation with
I
Darlene.
did. I had an amazing conversation with Darlene. I would like for her to tell us a little bit about herself first, because her story is so inspiring. Tell us a little bit.
Okay, I'll jump in. Let's see. I lost my sight in November of 1998, so I'm totally blind, which is an interesting thing to lead with, but blindness has been such a gift to me. I was born sighted. I lost the sight in my right eye when I was 11 years old. In one day, my retina detached. And so there was an adjustment period for me at 11 years old. But you know what? You're a kid. You go, I could still see. I could still shoot hoops. I got my driver's license. I ran into a lot of things on my right-hand side, because I could see on that side. I didn't understand depth perception or anything. But, I adjusted. We adjust, right? And you move on. When I was married at one time, and I have 2 children, and when I was pregnant with my youngest, it started happening to my left eye. So I fought for 6 years to save my sight. I had 12 surgeries in 6 years, because what I wasn't going to be was blind. Anything but that. Even a sliver of sight, even if it looked like I was looking at things underwater, I was better with that. Then blind was the end of the line for me in my head.
Right.
And it was a fear I had because I had 2 baby girls. Right. And I thought, Bailey was 9 and Kelsey was 6, just about to turn 6. And I went blind in the operating room. I woke up from the 12th surgery in the recovery room with my doctor in tears, telling me, "This is it, Darlene. It's over, And we fought. And I understand we have in America, and maybe the world over, but we have this us and them mentality.
Right.
And I was an us until I became a them. And what I realized was, we're a we, guys. I'm the same Darlene O'Brien today. I'm an improved version, and I can't see. I'm better today than I was 24 years ago or 50 years ago.
Your vision has improved.
Yes, and I tell people, I may have lost my sight, but I never lost my vision, because the point is, the vision of a being isn't in whether we can see each other. It's so much deeper than that. And our worth, that's what I got to discover after I went blind, is that Bailey and Kelsey are looking at me like, when's dinner? I got homework due. Nothing. The life goes tripping on, and I'm tripping, and it's tripping, and I gotta figure out how to make, And so I learned how to vacuum, and we lost a lot of Barbie shoes. Those are really, really hard to find.
They're so.
Oh, thank you. Did I just happy with that? Thank you. Cheers. And so, Barbie shoes sucked up in the vacuum cleaner, because you can only pick so much up, right?
Right.
The whites went pink.
Oh, you two
because
must have
the
had
occasional
a
red
crush
shirt
on
got
me.
in there, But after things like that happen, you're like,
You reframe, right?
you reframe,
Like the
you
things.
acclimate, and you go, what's really important?
That part. the little things, you can actually genuinely stop sweating the small stuff.
That's it.
Right.
You know, and I had, since Bailey, I had read to her so much, my
Right.
oldest, that I memorized the books in the collection. So when Kelsey came along and I couldn't see past, you know, I was going through all the surgeries.
Right.
So I would sit them, you know, Bailey on one side, Kelsey on the other side, and I was reading, but I had memorized them all.
Right.
And I remember having these Disney books and going,
Soul
okay, where's the,
imprint.
yes, you know, like where's the bread? Show me the bread, because I knew on this page there were eggs, there was bread. So
Right.
you know, everybody's showing me the, you know,
Right.
and you show up,
Yes.
right? Because these two needed me to be all that. They didn't care whether I could see or not.
Right.
And that's the point. It's like we have this perception of each other
Right.
of if you can see, if you can hear, if you can walk on two legs, if you got both hands, if you're typically developed, you know, developmentally developed,
Yeah.
instead of, you know, with any variance on that scale.
Right.
Okay, you got to show up with all that. Do you know how rare it is to find somebody who's got
All
you know, like,
Who's-
you know, like
who's
the
dead
absence.
center of the bell curve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, who is
Yeah.
this person?
Yeah.
You know, but there's normal. That's what we're shooting for.
Right.
Right? It's like, wait a minute, like all of us
Right.
sitting here, everybody in the room, everybody watching this, like look around. Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like how
Right.
diverse are we?
Right.
What are we shooting for? Like what's the one perfect thing we're shooting for that the rest of us are falling short about?
Right. And more importantly,
Doesn't exist.
like the
Yeah.
acknowledgement
Genius.
that like no one hits that. Like no one hits,
No.
no one has all five, no one's hitting all of those. And
Well, it's-
how stifling it is that rather than growing into our full self, we are trying to shrink ourselves into the
Go
box
small, go
of
small,
normal.
kids, go
Right.
small. You're really big now, but
Right.
that doesn't work for us.
Right.
So go small so that we can handle your emotions, we can handle your
Right.
gifts,
Right.
we can. You're thinking way too far out of the box for us. So go small,
Right.
and then let's put you all through the little like that. That's you know. And that's what we're doing to
Right.
each other. And it's like, wait a minute, like,
Yep.
how about if we all go, like, if we just meet each other, what would the world be like if we, every single person we met, we have nothing we're bringing to the table other than right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, when you speak, we'll just go there.
Right.
Like, whatever, however you do it, and if you can't hear me, we'll figure out how to communicate.
figure a
If you
different
can't
way.
see me,
Right.
well, you know, which is hysterical for a blind person to meet a person with deafness, because
Oh.
you know, like they're looking at me, and
Sure.
I'm waiting to hear them speak to know where
Yeah.
they are. So
Right.
I have to say, can you clap?
Yeah.
You know, like let me know where you are.
Right.
And guess what? We find each other and we communicate.
Right. You find the common
You
ground.
find the common ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that people understand not to be survivors of life, but prevailers and overcomer, which you are, because you are now teaching what you have lived, not just to your kids, because the practicum is in family life, you're just mom. No matter what else happens, you're mom. And no matter what happens, and so to be able to do that, and as I point out to people all the time, and it seems like a comedy line, but it's not. Normal is just a setting on a dryer. Right?
This is absolutely true.
Right.
Like, give me your definition of normal, because it's not going to be the person sitting next to you's definition. So it's a moving target.
What
I was
was
gonna
the
say, isn't normal like the sum of all or something like that?
exactly
There you
the
go.
sum of all?
It's
What was
everything.
The
It's kind of
meaning.
like perfect.
Yeah.
I like my definition of perfect, which we all live by, is like perfect is what it is.
it is
Right?
what it is. It is what it
Because
is.
that's
Yeah.
about as much as I can live up to right now.
Right.
But it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, this is it. You're looking
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will say to me, it's like, well, you don't look blind.
That is
And it's an interesting statement, because
Right.
I sincerely want to say, what does blind look like? Because I am totally blind. No shadow, no light, nothing. Woo, nothing. It's you closing your eyes and then putting your hand over your eyes. That's what I see.
right.
So this is what blind looks like. Now, there
Right.
may be somebody else in the world that you've seen that maybe also has blindness, and they present differently.
Right.
But come on, you sighties, right? Do you all look the same? You sighties, right? Do you all look the same? It's like, oh, that's what sighted looks like.
Right.
Right.
Right?
There's
It's
no
ludicrous to
sighted.
think of it like that, right? So like we do this compartmentalizing of people, right? We're like, okay, so all blind people are like that.
Right.
Oh my goodness gracious,
And we
you know.
do it for
Oh, I can't. Such a great
Society.
slang word. Oh, you
You
Sadie.
Sadie, you're all the same.
We do it for everything. We do it for all aspects of our brains are designed to work at the lowest possible energy output. Our brains don't want to do work. They want to be able to just regurgitate and process and move on. And so boxes and labels and categories are
Easy.
hardwired for
Yeah, they're
us,
easy.
right?
They're easy
And
to
it's
do.
it's an overcoming. What's interesting about that is that they're categories and labels that are taught, right?
That's it.
So until something is given a label or a nuance, the possibilities are endless. My husband also has a detached retina, so he has very very limited vision in one eye and not great vision in the other. My son knows this. My son is 9, and we mess with my husband mercilessly.
Well, it's your responsibility.
Right. No, we live on his right side.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
We're forever
Like, on your right.
in the darkness for him.
Yes, exactly.
But my daughter has no idea. She's 4, and to him and to her, there is no difference between him and anyone else in the house.
Of course.
And growing up in that household where vision is a mixed bag, her label is going to be different. Her box is going to be different. She
Check the different box on that one.
we signed because my god sister is deaf, so hearing is even different. What she and my son recognize as communication is different. And those are the needs that we have as a community, as a global community, is to broaden those categories, broaden those labels.
Why is that so important for both of you? I mean, and Trevor, why is that so important? Because look at what we do to each other. We have boxes
Right.
for everybody, and in that box is compliance and conformity. And what does that do to the creative spirit? Because when I'm with you, I'm thinking, what was the well, Darlene? What was the well that you drew from to become who you are? Because that's important for these folks to hear, as well as about compliance and conformity. You know, like Ra was talking about, you know, everyone in family ironically adjusts. We just get to teach the globe to do that.
Right.
Right. Yeah. What was the well you drew on? You drew from, you know, the deep well of your soul to be able to become not a survivor, but a prevailer and overcomer. And how did you choose to become this to teach the world? I mean, you're a remarkable professor of emotional archaeology.
Wow. Okay, you recorded that too, right?
Yeah, we got that on
I think I
recording,
might.
too.
That's wow. I'm just gonna bask in that for just a second.
Yeah.
I think the well is worth.
Wow.
It's worth. It's your interpretation of worth, of course.
Right.
So is your well dry, or is your well bottomless?
Oof.
Right? So, and from that well is my perspective of you. See, I think yours is bottomless because I know mine's bottomless. Right?
Yeah.
So if mine is
understand.
dry and brittle, and I'm not going to see your worth through
Right.
really clear eyes, right?
Yeah.
Even blind eyes can see things very clearly if you understand your worth.
Right.
And it's not your worth financially,
No.
although money is grand. You know, oh my
Money's
gosh,
delightful.
traveling, oh,
Right.
it's and I say, bring it on. Like, that's a bottomless well too, right? We
Right.
love
Yes,
it,
of course.
but we're not going to put limitations on abundance, right?
Right.
Okay, so I won't do that for money. I won't do that for love. I won't do that for experiences or expansiveness or.
I
So-
wanna come back to that. I wanna sit with that statement. We are not going to put limitations on abundance.
Yeah, because it's like what people do with God. They go, oh, God is made in our image. We misconstrue that. It's because then we do what we were saying a minute ago about categories. How many of us on the planet Earth put God in a category?
Right.
And it depends on your well.
Yeah.
It depends on your worth. You know, what you see of yourself, right? So that's God. God is either vengeful, God is either causes you fear,
Right.
God is abundance, God is everywhere, God is only in your church, God is, right?
Yes.
So think about it, okay? So
Right.
we've done that, we put him in a box, or her,
Right.
or it, or they.
Right.
How, what, you know?
So,
Right.
so summing up, worth is not wealth, but wealth is worth, right?
Yes.
And that's you. I mean, you have become what you needed to become for your kids and us, given the circumstances. And how do you teach that other than, and you are a brilliant and wise and Solomonic, Sarah-like wisdom to teach this to young people early. And this is what I know you do in these blogs and Zooms that you do. How do you first spoon feed them until they're enough to take the whole bowl?
First of all, speaking from experience with, I am a grandma. I have
Right.
3 grandchildren
Got it.
right now.
That
And
helps.
having raised 2 kids, and I got wiser as I aged, right?
Right,
So,
right.
you know, because you get seasoned, right?
Yes.
Season.
Right, you season really well.
Like a cast iron.
That's right. You put a little on the end, yeah,
Yeah.
or a barrel with the, you know, the, okay. So we won't go there. So lots of blends. So you know, the thing is, when I play, I have this grand imagination. So it's one thing that I would like to say worth is, even if you don't feel it for real, like round, because you believe right now what you've been told by your parents years ago, who probably meant you no harm. But we can only teach what we feel. And if a parent doesn't feel good in their own skin, how are they going to teach the baby to feel good in his?
Yes.
So, but they didn't mean any harm, because they didn't know what happy was. They want you to be happy, but they're trying to teach you what they know is a version of happy.
Right.
So then it perpetuates, right?
Right.
So just stop for a minute and think about a moment when you were victorious.
Mm.
Think about a moment when it could have been a graduation, it could have been you hit that soccer goal, you, like, whatever, just think of one moment. Close your eyes and think of it, because you think, I don't know what that feeling is. Think of one moment, and if you don't have in your own personal history a moment of pure victory, that's okay. Some of us don't really have that feeling, but think of a moment when you loved something. It could have been a dog, it could have been a newborn baby, it could have been anything. It could have been a sunset that moved you to tears. Like, go there, because everybody's got one of those. And sit with that for a moment and just concentrate on it, focus on it, and get what that feels like
Right.
in your body. Just get that, like, that thing that makes you, like, tear up, you know, and everybody's like, what are you, you're like, no, I'm good. It's like you did, something did it.
Fulfilled.
Something did it, right? Something rose up in you. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 2.
Right.
You can be 92, right? And so that feeling is you at your best. It's not external, right? Is it like, because somebody else could have
Right.
seen that same thing and they weren't tearing up. Somebody
Right.
else could have held that baby and they weren't. Somebody else could have touched that dog and they didn't. It didn't come from out there.
Right.
It was you. That's who you are. That's your worth. That vibration, that feeling that makes you feel like full.
That consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So if you can remember even one moment, and you can work on that one moment and bring it up to where you get to, like, muscle memory, like, that's your moment, right? That
Exactly.
when you do that and you vibrate at that resonance,
Yeah.
more of that will come.
Right.
Because you draw it to you.
You draw
Light
it
draws
to
light.
you, because now it's like a radio signal you put on your country western, you know, in your car. You're not going to get heavy metal through the antenna,
Right.
right? You're going to get what you're putting out,
Right.
right? You're going to send that signal out into the world. Only that signal's going to come back,
Right.
Right.
right? So find that thing, and if you don't have one legitimately, it's okay. Go get one.
Right.
Go
And
get
how does
one.
one, Darlene, how does one do that? That's a great, I wanna ask the deep source well here. And how do you find that? Because there's so, right now, and this is for all of us, there's so many lost souls. This morning's show was the lonesomeness out there and the self-destructiveness, and your message is so pertinently on time. You know, there's a gospel song that says you're totally on time, and you are on time for our culture.
Can't
right
be
now.
late for your own life.
Here you go.
Yes.
And that's exactly, what I'm thinking. How do you help these young people who are lost in a word I use all the time from one of their own descriptions is we live in a constant state of anticipation. We don't think anything good will happen for us. How do you teach that to them from your own deep source well of what happened to you and what's happened for you since?
And that's a terrific question, because I'd also like to say I didn't overcome anything.
Right.
I'm still blind.
Right?
So like sometimes we have like the event where we were terribly abused, or we were in a car accident, or we lost like there was an event.
Right.
It's like, God, now you gotta, like, everything's different.
Right.
Blindness is a gift that keeps giving to me every day. So, like, to get up and leave this table, you all see what the exit is. I don't. So
Right.
I'm gonna problem solve. I'm either gonna ask somebody, or and people don't know, my beautiful guide dog Radish is laying on the floor right next to me. Radish, she's a beautiful black lab. So I'll say, Radish, forward, show me the door. There's it's like, you guys, here comes the coffee. Everybody's like, don't let her hit the microphone. It's like don't knock it over. It's like, just it's a thing.
Right.
So in terms of when people go, oh, you can overcome it. Okay. Chances are I'm never going to get my sight back in this go around.
Right.
So this is as good as it gets, and it's enough, right? So it's everything, because this
Wow.
is me here with you guys, and I don't see, and I know you're all very good looking. I told you, like, my imagination is
Aside
so
from
vivid,
my
you
delusion.
can all hey, I get to make it my reality, right? So I can paint the world. So it's part of the answer. If you don't have anything to be grateful for right now, if you're depressed and you're locked, the word is constricted, like
Right.
you've been shoved down and twisted, and the lock feels like it's been lost. The key has been lost, right? Every moment, you are still you. Whether you have money, or somebody has been rude to you, or you've lost your job, or you can't see, or
Right.
you're using a wheelchair, or whatever your issue is, I am here to tell you that that's not where the value lies.
Right.
We're not accidents.
Right.
Like, when we arrive, we individually, uniquely bring something
Right.
that nobody else can bring.
Right.
Right.
And you may not know what that is. I might not know mine yet.
Right.
But it's in here,
Right.
and it's not out here. It may take all experiences and the people I meet and all, to bring it to my attention. I think blindness has done that
Right.
for me. So I reframe blindness for people, disabilities for people, hardship for people, because maybe that's it. Maybe that's the key.
Right.
Maybe the very thing that we think is lost is the very thing showing us our way.
Right. The gift of the Magi.
Home.
Right. Home. Yeah.
Home.
Where the star.
Because no matter, you can do a geographic, you can leave here and leave California and go, I'm out of this crazy state. That's right, I'm going to. And you could leave, but guess who's coming with you?
You.
And your answer was here all along.
Right.
Yes.
So how do you draw from the well? First of all, use your imagination and understand that you've got one.
Right. Right.
That you are that which we need.
Right.
Yes.
One
Because-
way or the other, their imagination got you to wherever you're at this moment
Right.
in time.
That's
Right.
it.
And so you're
Right.
here.
That's it.
Right.
Right? What is fear? I mean, unless I just recently survived a dog attack. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
2 months ago. And it was a big old German Shepherd, and my partner Heidi and I were trying to save him, rescue him, do the right thing, and something happened, and he snapped, and he grabbed me by the top of the head, and I'm lucky to be here. And I had 14 inches more hair a month ago. It was down the middle of my back, but I got this cute little sassy now because I got a scar on the top of my head from here to here. So, and I'm here.
Yes, you are.
And even in the midst of that, it wasn't his fault.
Here.
And I don't hate dogs.
No.
And I don't hate that sweet nameless soul that we tried to say he's a good boy. Something just went wrong. Stuff happens.
Right.
It gives you another opportunity to say, who am I now?
Right.
Even in the jaws, literally the jaws of an attack, it's who am I in the presence of this? I could hate him. I could want him dead. I could, we're never rescuing a dog again. Oh, what I realized is that you can have trauma without drama.
Yes.
I'm going to need a little bit more definition for that lovely statement. You can have trauma without drama.
Without the drama.
Forgiveness.
Like I'm in the jaws of the dog, and it just is. Like you were saying, normal, like it's just what it is, right? Right now, my normal was I was in the mouth of a dog.
Right.
It was an interesting perspective, interesting
Yeah,
view.
yeah, definitely interesting view.
There are really times when I'm glad I'm blind
Yeah.
because
experience.
Right.
yes, I wouldn't want to see it from that perspective,
Right.
visually. So I'm glad, but
I talked to her the day after, and I was astounded. I mean, the term I always talk about with people is, I think it's that consciousness thing, that spiritual consciousness, that things happen. It's what we do with them that's urgently important to our soul, our spirit, our heart, our vision of the world and how it is. You're never being punished. You're being protected from something harder. And also in forgiveness lies the answer to everything, because in restoring yourself, you may restore everything in your life.
there's no pain.
Right.
It's like what feels good and what hurts. Forgiveness doesn't hurt. I mean, hating somebody hurts.
Yes.
Being really mad and maintaining that takes a lot of energy, and it actually hurts.
Anger's a burden.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
it gives you
damaging.
it
It's
gives you really
physically
bad
damaging.
wrinkles on your face too.
It does.
When it
It's
comes
like
to-
the indigestion
it's
is
like
horrible.
like who wants that, right?
It's
I can
bad.
tell that you're a really angry person.
Yeah.
They just served you coffee. You're like, huh? So the thing is, it's like it's in here. So even if you don't feel it, to follow up on like how do you go get it?
Right.
Pretend. Use your imagination. Like with my baby boys, when I build, Duplos, Legos.
Sure,
There's
yeah,
the itty
Legos.
bitty little Legos, and then there's the first Lego, the
Right.
big ones. I've got hundreds of them because my baby boy, my grandson grew up in my house. He's out with his mom elsewhere now and living the life. But for a while, I had the privilege of having him in the house with me, and so I was on the floor. I was Legos. We were in capes. I had boots. I had a sword. I had the eye patch.
You thought you shouldn't wear that today?
Oh well,
Next
it's
time.
in the car.
Next time.
I got my cape in the car. And so we were totally decked out. Imagination, right? And anything he said, and now it's my 5-year-old grandson, because of the COVID thing and the segregation, separating and all that, we're on FaceTime 2 to 3 times a week. And I build Lego structures that are this tall and this, and with figurines, and we play. We do Pokemon.
Right.
We do dragons. We do dinosaurs. I do all the voices, and we're in it to win it. And anything he suggests, the answer is yes.
Yes.
That's it. That's the answer. Anything you come up with, say yes to it. We resonate. Yes. It's much more comfortable to be you got to work on no. You gotta like shove yourself in that box.
From a
No.
scientific perspective, it is actually a negative is much harder to maintain.
It is.
than
Yes.
a positive.
Does it take more muscles to frown
It
than it does
does.
to smile? So you gotta work at being mad. You gotta work at being constricted. You gotta wanna hang on to that.
Right.
You gotta have an agenda to stay there.
Now let me ask you this, because this goes back in deep inside that, teaching them that, the loneliness factor, which is what most people right now are suffering with. And how do you deal with the loneliness? Because Aeschylus, the great Greek philosopher, said, "With every drop of pain on the human heart, wisdom grows. Wisdom grows." How do you teach that wisdom to get past your own loneliness, to allow yourself to reach out to others and have others reach out to you? What did you?
I think first when you say something like that to somebody who's in pain, they're like, "Get out of
Right.
there.
Right. Yes.
Don't tell me that my pain is helping me."
Right.
People don't want to hear that.
Right.
Because when you're in pain,
Right.
you're in pain. Like if you've ever physically been in pain and people go, just just breathe through it, and you're like, breathe through it. All you want to do is hit somebody, right? You're like, give me the pill, right? Knock me out. Like when you're in it, you don't want to hear about deal with your pain, right? So the answer is the pain, emotional pain, is so, and loneliness, it's hand in hand, because being alone is you're with you. Right?
Yes.
So Byron Katie, I don't know if you guys know Byron
Yes,
Katie is this
the writer.
really wonderful person, and she was saying she did a lot of work with the men in solitary confinement in prison. She said these people were screaming. You walk down solitary confinement, these people are just out of their minds.
Right.
And why? And she goes, because they're in their own minds. And that's where the prison is.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be in solitary confinement, but you know what? A monk
Right.
does it on purpose.
I actually kind of wanted to go with that.
You know?
I've always had the
Yes.
idea of going and doing the monk
There you go.
thing,
No.
but I know it's
The
not
retreat,
for me.
yeah.
The
No, but-
nature retreats, and
Yeah,
those
well, you
things
don't
help
talk.
you.
You're
You don't
just-
talk,
you're
it's a
just
silent
in
for
retreat.
7 days.
And where they live, it's called a cell.
Yeah.
That's where it came from. And it is a cell. And so what's the difference? It's like that geographic. It says you come with you.
Right.
So if you're,
Wow.
you can be alone and not lonely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference.
Right.
There it is.
So
That's
it's
That's exactly.
you matter. You
Worth.
have your worth is like what you have, I don't have.
Right. Well, you as a human being are the most valuable thing that you possess. You are the well of which all things have value.
That's it.
The money that you have only has value to you because you are the person who has it. The value of someone else's money has no value to you because it is not yours.
Yes.
Food only has value to you if it is in your possession.
That's right.
All things of value come from within.
I agree. And if you don't have it, it becomes really, really valuable.
Right.
Right? It's
Unless
supply and
you
demand.
reframe it.
That's what exactly.
Unless you
That's what
reframe it.
happened. People go, oh no, now there's a shortage of toilet paper. What do people do? Instead of going, you know what? There's going to be enough if everybody grabs one thingy, and when your family runs out, it'll be on the shelf again.
Right.
Right.
Because
No,
everybody only grabbed
People
one.
go, I need 27 of these, and they take it all home, and then you got 27 families or 26 families who don't have any toilet paper.
Right.
Right.
It's like there's this scarcity, but that's in here.
Right. And that's fear.
It's
Right.
fear.
There it is.
Fear.
Yeah, it's
Again.
fear, and so how do you get there when you're in pain? Is just take baby steps.
Right.
Go outside, or stay in your house, or put on a movie, or watch a sitcom, or pick up a book, or go to an animal shelter and touch a dog.
Right.
Volunteer to just go socialize the kitty cats who have no homes, or go anywhere you want to go that you know inside you what makes you go, oh,
Right.
like that, oh, you know, that whatever it is, it's different for all of us. For a lot of us, it ends up being the same thing, you know,
Yes.
commonality,
Got it.
right? But it's not the same in all of us.
Right.
You know, it could be a horror film to somebody, which just is ghastly to me, right? But you know, but
What
watch
if
it.
someone needs that emotional stimulation?
Do
then that's
it.
what they need.
Then put on Les Mis, put
Right.
on, you know, put on something,
Right.
and find that one
Right.
thing that throws you,
Right.
right? That like the chord inside you goes, boing.
Right. I think that
Start
also
there, you know.
a lot of, like we talked about that box, the
Right.
box that we all kind of get shoved into,
Yeah.
right? And part of what I think loneliness and depression or anxiety is trying to exist inside that box, right? We're not taught to value all of our emotions. We're taught to value the good ones,
Be happy.
Be
You know,
happy.
don't let, you know, stop crying.
right?
You know, just stop crying.
But you know, having dealt with depression and having dealt with anxiety, I think part of what I would tell young people particularly,
Right.
since they're the most important ones, is first of all, spend time with yourself. Like spend time in that pain, in those feelings. Give them words, give them names, write a story, give them meaning, visualize those feelings, because once it becomes tangible to you, then it becomes a problem that can be worked on, that can be solved, that can be moved out of the way temporarily. You know, it's loneliness in particular is really interesting because we are pack animals by nature. We don't consider ourselves to be an entity in parallel with us. So it's interesting that young children can play, can imagine, can have full-blown conversations with themselves, and then at some point we're taught to put aside childish things. We're taught to stop talking to
That's
ourselves,
it.
stop having those conversations with ourselves.
That was the well.
Yeah, that is it.
That's the well.
You feed that,
Yes.
and you can't ever really be lonely. And the other side of it is, if there's something about you that is uncomfortable that you don't want to spend time with that. Sit with that, so that if you are ever in a place where you are alone, you are still sitting with a friend. You're still sitting with somebody that you like.
There's a wonderful poet, Nellie Lincoln. She said, "On the road of life, you only have one constant companion. So make sure that you become good company for yourself."
Seriously.
Because you go. When I was years ago, I started a career development program in Sacramento for people with low vision and no vision. Because there's no, like, if you want to go out into competitive employment and you're totally blind, there's no service out there to help you, like, get that done, right? So I created that in Sacramento and did it for 6 years. And what I realized is that, you know, people are, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're blind or you're sighted,
Right.
or it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. There's a self-esteem issue
Right.
across the board, you know.
Right.
And I was the new, you know, I was the first blind person I ever met. So I thought I was walking into society. I didn't wasn't hanging out with blind people. I
How
didn't
did
know.
that introduction go?
You know, like, yeah, it's like, where's your hand? Hold still. And so, you know, so like teaching blind people to shake hands and make eye contact. Big thing, right? It's an important thing, body language.
Yes.
And if you're born blind and you have parents who go, honey, sit still, you know,
Right.
because rocking is an idiosyncrasy that you know, and you can see that it's stimming, right?
Right.
You guys all know what stimming is. So it's
Yeah, I
the
do.
same thing. There's the same thing in the blind community.
Comfort.
So it's comfort. It's like, okay, so there's no stimulation out here at all. It's all here.
Right.
And it's sound and it's movement and it's like all this stuff, and it's like, you know, this is soothing, right? But if you do that in a job interview, what do you think your prospective employer is going to think of you, right? They're not going to see past that.
Right.
So at the career development program, those were some of the things, like helping my clients to bring out who they weren't getting jobs. Not only
Right.
just, none of them were rocking.
Right.
What I'm saying is that they weren't getting competitive employment because they didn't believe they were worth competitive, like they could compete,
Right.
you know. And I thought, wow, this is epidemic. This is what, is out there as a contagion.
Yes.
This is the thing where people feel like, oh no, you could do it, but I could never. People say to me, it's like, God, I don't know how you, it's like, I would never be able to. I'm like,
It goes back to the well.
it goes, you know what? I'm not special. I'm special in that I'm Darlene and I came as Darlene, and you can't be Darlene, and you can't be Darlene, and you can't be Darlene, but I can't be Rob. I can't be Trevor. So it doesn't make me more special. It just makes me me.
Right.
So if I can do it and I bring that, then you can do it. You bring it. So you got to figure out, like, blindness is maybe a vehicle for me. Well, what's yours? Like, it's a vehicle to get
Donuts
me
for
there.
breakfast.
Yes. And let me just, I just want to share this, just on my own, my own observation of this conversation. You are an astoundingly remarkable spirit of incredible depth, wisdom, and clarity. You're a gift to America. You're a gift to your community. You're a gift to Sacramento. But you're also, most proudly, a gift to yourself, because you hold the key to the prison that once held you, and you are free.
That's it.
And
That's
so
it.
thank you for being who you are. And I feel grateful to have been in the room with the three of you knuckleheads.
Takes one to know one, Mike.
Come on, do a little Three Stooges. That's it. A little curly.
So I think we are
Wrap
up. We are over time, but I don't know about you, but I lost track of time. That's for sure in this conversation. I think there's definitely there is about 3 different times that I kind of wanted to be like, time out, let that sink in.
Right.
Right. So I think it was depleted well, finding your own source. Right. Like the happy moment. Find out what makes like your moment of victory. Right. So let's take, I don't know, 3 seconds of silence for finding that moment of victory.
I found it when she asked.
I did too. I had mine, but I'm trying to, for our viewers. And
Oh,
things
you're
like
out
that.
there.
Yeah.
I'll share with you.
That was about 1.5. Good job, Rob. All right. What was the other one? The other one was I can't remember
It's
now.
like
But there's basically, I know that there's 3 different sections in this that really came out. I'm like, all right, hold on, trainer timeout. Like, let's stop. Let's let that sink in. So if you're watching this, be prepared to hit the pause button and the back 10-second button, because there is a ton of amazing nuggets and I don't know, life hacks, whatever it
you
is,
want,
right? But the emotional, obviously you're not emotional about this at all. You have no
Zero.
vested
Not
passion.
passionate.
Not at all.
I mean, it's a totally show.
Frontline.
I want to wrap this show up. If you want more,
Yes.
1, follow our Donuts for Breakfast, and also we will be doing a We Are the Remedy interview that will be going live tonight with Darlene, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes.
And then also be on the lookout for the many, many shows that will be coming in the future with you as a host, right?
Yes.
So
Let's
I'm really
play.
definitely. That was one of the things that
Play.
came out was like,
Mhm.
what is it that
Yeah.
and it was like, I don't know, just how you play in the sandbox.
Yeah,
Like, that's what we talk about.
Play.
All the time.
Right? Our box is how do you want to play in our sandbox?
Yeah.
Like that's how we
Inner
figure it out.
sandbox. Ooh, I
So-
like that.
Anyway, thank you for joining us for Donuts for Breakfast this morning. We really hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all those things that I don't really know what to do. And join us for We Are the Remedy. Thank you for being people helping people.
Much love.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace.
We'll see you next week. Peace.